deductible will increase 300%, my premium will increase 50%, and every time I use the emergency room, whether I've met my deductible or not, I will pay $500 versus the $75 I pay now.
I'm doing well from a health standpoint. Got great docs, and fortunately, even though my new coverage won't cover my specialist, I'm going to have great care, and I have a great prognosis.
Well, retiring Senator Tom Coburn from Oklahoma saying that his Obamacare doesn't cover his oncologist, and you heard it there. He is going to continue to pay out of pocket and see that specialist, his office said. Also, before that, a guest at the State of the Union tonight, a breast cancer survivor who's also dealing with a change of policy. We're back with the panel. How much do you think the president will talk about Obamacare tonight, Steve?
I think he has to talk about it a little bit to try to reframe the issue. But again, I think he runs into a difficult reality when he tries to do that. I think it's very significant that Tom Coburn said what he said today, and that he introduced, this rival, or at least long-term Republican plan on health care. Tom Coburn has long been an effective spokesman on a wide variety of issues, but in particular on health care. He's a doctor, as you mentioned, and now he'll be talking about these issues as a doctor, as a patient, as a citizen, but also as someone who lost a doctor. I mean, lost his ability to see his specialist because of Obamacare. Yeah,
Juan, there are Democrats who are feeling the heat on this. Just recently retiring Congressman Jim Moran saying he thinks this thing could implode.
I don't know why Jim Moran would say it could implode. It doesn't look like it's in any way in danger of imploding. Clearly, it has become a political liability, and the question is whether or not we now have 3 million people enrolled, whether or not it continues to see gains as we approach that March 31st deadline. But the larger point here, I think, is the polling, as the American people's attitude, which is that status quo is unacceptable. So now Republicans have put forward some ideas, but again, these are ideas that don't include things like, taking away the caps on what insurance companies spend, or allowing people with pre-existing conditions to get insurance coverage. Those are major flaws in any kind of insurance plan. What you need is a plan that's better if you want to somehow supplant Obamacare.
There are pre-existing conditions, I think, in the Coburn.
No.
Not?
No.
You're positive?
Well, that's what I read. I mean, I haven't read the plan.
Nina.
Well, I was just going to say Obamacare does, it goes to the heart of these questions about the president's governance. So, Steve raised the wrong track, right track issue. There actually was a sort of burst of less negativism about the country right after Obama was elected. And you saw it the wrong track just goes off the charts. And it's largely over Obamacare. And this whole sense of that he's not decisive and not honest because of the saying that you can keep your own health care and you can keep your own doctors. I mean, that's really hurt him. So he should take this opportunity to try to reestablish his credibility on the issue. My sense is he doesn't want to go down that route too far. It's politically fraught still. I mean, there's questions about how sustainable the system is with more sick people than healthy people signing up. There's all these questions about whether your personal data is secure, these cybersecurity threats that are being raised. There's a prospect of more policy cancellations down the road. So it is pretty fraught for him to get too far into it.
Charles.
Let me just say that seeing Tom Coburn tells me how much we're going to miss him. He's got the best hair-whisker combination in all of Washington, and it will be missed. Look, I think Obama's problem with Obamacare is that it's a disaster. I suspect what he will do is do a couple of anecdotes. There are people who've been helped, and he will find them, and he will make it sound as if that's emblematic of the country. It is not, and I think it'll be highly anecdotal, and he'll simply be implying stay the course. The problem is that the promise he made about the plan, that you can keep your plan if you like it, is what undermined him entirely, and I don't think you can recover.
Okay, panel, thank you. That's it for the panel. We'll stay tuned for some reaction to President Obama's diplomatic nominations this week.